Welcome in. We are alive. Week 13 wraps up tonight. Shouldn't be surprised. Bunch of injuries. We've been talking about it all week, 4 weeks. Have to have your handcuffs. Thing that comes into big effect. Top of that, unfortunately, 6 teams on bye this week. That includes.
Well, on top of that, apparently you also need your handcuff. In some situations.
That rare occasion. We'll get to that. But you're without all of your Ravens, all of your Broncos, all of your Texans, potentially Colts if you had any, Patriots and Commanders. So, yay. Had everybody last week, not anybody this week.
Yeah.
That in mind. How's your Thanksgiving, Mike?
Thanksgiving was good. It was good. Had some good matchups. I think for a lot of my leagues, actually, it's kind of wrapping up. Like things are being determined and stuff by this week. So it's good. But we know there's a lot of people out there that, they need some help here because you have some good teams. Ravens, all these teams are guys, especially a lot of quarterbacks. Just looking at it, Lamar, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Richardson, if you're going that way, Drake May. A lot of quarterbacks on buys this week that you could potentially start. So tough options, sometimes it's tough, but also, start looking ahead, playoff schedules. We should already be doing that, but now is the time for sure. Start looking at the playoff schedules, especially if you're streaming guys and kind of play the matchups. Now is the time to hold on to 2 defenses or 2 tight ends, maybe even if you need to, because you only need them for a few weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I mean, gonna talk about it now, I guess. CMC and Jordan Mason were both put on IR today. Sorry. If you held on to CMC, really didn't produce anything for you while he was active. Looks like a PCL that's taking him out. And then Mason has an ankle injury that's going to sideline to him for at least 4 weeks. So it's rough out there.
Yeah, really is. And CMC was looking good in that game too. It looked like he was finally healthy because, unfortunately, you miss CMC the first 2 months and change of the season. And then you started him and he wasn't even producing really. I mean, he did have over 100 yards his first 2 games back, which is obviously good, but it wasn't CMC stuff. And even the last 2 weeks, the week before his injury wasn't that great. And then he was looking so good though. 67 total yards in that short little, first quarter, early second? It was pretty early. So
yeah, it was over pretty quickly, but you saw Jordan Mason come in and just start destroying people. So that they had a chance. And then not so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, Bills just handled that all the way. But good news is Broncos play tonight. So have that opportunity. You'll get to have a full week off without him. Congrats. And what? I posted 3 teams. And if the Broncos lose tonight, it is at that point that the Jaguars are eliminated. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, could be interesting. We'll see how this ends up going, but let's get into it because, we are now 50-ish minutes, close to 50 minutes to kick off for the Browns and Broncos. So, get into quarterbacks. Let's talk about it. Same group guys. Russell Wilson, 35.4% rostered. Had a really good week this past week. And gets play the Browns again. He struggled the first one. We had a lot of snow. It was a pretty game, but I do think that there's still the opportunity there. Game has more upside potential. Hopefully there isn't snow. And they play like they played the second half, the entire game. That'd be awesome. And of course, go back to it because the number is going to drop even more. But Drake May is going on by this week. He's currently 19.3% rostered, widely available, will be even more widely available, I'm sure, after these bye weeks because his is one of the teams that is going into it. So those are my picks. Mike, who do you like this week?
Yeah, definitely like those picks. Will Levis still under 5% rostered, so he's literally out there for everyone, almost everyone. QB13 since he's come back from the injuries. He's been playing well. Gives you a rushing floor as well. He didn't really do it this last game, but he can go for 20 yards or so, and then his schedule is just it's amazing. I mean, you're looking at it here. You get the Jags this week if you need to get into the playoffs. That is the best matchup for quarterbacks. He gets the Bengals after that, the third best matchup for quarterbacks. Colts after that, 12th best matchup, and then Jags again in your fantasy championships, which, again, the best matchup for quarterbacks. So you could potentially start him rest of the season. If you're out there streaming quarterbacks, no one has a better schedule than Will Levis. And it's kind of gone back since, I think the Minnesota game, since he's kind of come back from the injury, this good schedule, and it's kind of lining up with his good stretch here. So, 295 and 1, 278 and 2, 212 and 2, plus whatever he gives you on the ground, hopefully. So really like Will Levis kind of rest the season. Derek Carr, still an option, wasn't great this last week. I think he only threw one touchdown under 200 yards, but he's always an option. He's kind of the streaming quarterback, right? That's kind of what he's been almost his whole career. He gets the Giants this week, Commanders after that. So, two pretty good matchups there. And then Raiders in the fantasy championship. And Caleb Williams, he's just over that 50%, but so I cheated a little bit, but I'm sure he's out there for a decent amount of people. 25 points over the last 2 weeks coincides with the new offense coordinator. I think he's averaging like 43 pass attempts per game or something. So they're throwing the ball a lot. I don't know if that's more because they got to chase points a little bit, or like they did against Detroit in the second half, or whatever it is, or this is kind of what they want to do. They want to air it out with them, but also hasn't thrown an interception since week 6, which is, I think it's week 6. It's just pretty damn impressive there.
Correct. It's the rookie record.
It's the rookie record. How close is he to the real record? He must be pretty close, right? In terms of passes.
It's not that close. I don't think. I'm pretty sure Brady has a monster one that's like 300 some attempts.
Jeez. Okay.
I can double check that.
Yeah. 49ers this week, but then Vikings and Lions, which, I know we kind of consider those teams as like really good defenses, but I think they're better more against the run than anything. So I kind of like his schedule coming up as well. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but it's kind of right there in the middle. So
they also fired their coach.
Yeah. Which,
so, big week incoming, baby.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a little bit worried though, because the offensive coordinator is going to be the interim coach, and I wonder, like, does that take his focus away a little bit, or I feel like we saw that a little bit with the Jets, like their defense fell off once their defensive coordinator became their head coach because you got a lot to deal with. But I hope they just take the approach of, right, let's just let Caleb sling it. Yeah. And you do have superstars there, so yeah, some good options if you need a quarterback this week or for the future playoff weeks.
All right, Steve, any last ones?
No, I'm still double checking this fact. I believe the record all time is Aaron Rodgers, 402 straight pass attempts without an interception.
Wow,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. But I'm still looking for the actual list. That's just the record I see here. I'll double check.
Yeah.
That. But no, Williams was going to be my pick, so you're good.
Yeah. All right. Looks like Caleb's getting close to. All right, looks like he's over 300. Just kind of quick math, or close to it. So yeah, still a ways to go.
The record that he set was like 238 or something like that.
Okay.
In that game, and that was in like the third quarter, and he passed a bunch after that. So
yeah. Impressive stuff.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get out of quarterbacks, go into running backs. I'm going to say it again. Make sure you have your handcuff. I don't care who it is. You might have to get your secondary handcuff at this point. But again, Tyler Algiers, too widely available still. And then this is more of a question because I'm not sure who it actually is. Jeremy McNichols or Chris Rodriguez, because Robinson looked great, but if the team is going to continue to run over people, Austin Eckler's being put on IR. That's at least 4 weeks. We've seen Robinson be beat up. Granted, he just ate after being limited all week or broken all week and potentially missing to just destroy teams. But it's very interesting. So those are the two I have. I'm just kind of curious. Either one of them tempt you?
My gut instinct was McNichols, actually, just because I always still think of him as like a pass catcher, because I feel like that's what he was when he was with Tennessee and Derrick Henry. He was like, yeah, he had almost 30 catches one year. So I kind of, but he has 2 this year. So it's like he's not catching any passes. So it feels like both of them they're gonna be avoids. Like, to be honest, like who's the handcuff? I would probably lean Rodriguez, just because he feels like he fits that mold a little bit more. But in terms of like, you can't really start either one of those guys with Brian Robinson there, because they're just getting, in my opinion, they're getting between the tackles or between the 20s type of stuff. I know Rodriguez had a good game. I'm not sure how much of that came in the garbage time. So
yeah, a lot of it came in the garbage time, but it was still just something that I wanted to bring up because if that's going to happen again, because they do have a pretty nice matchup the rest of the way, like it's not horrible for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Eckler's gone. They've been using a platoon system where they're using at least 2, and both Robinson and Eckler had been just destroying teams. So,
yeah, no, for sure, yeah. Obviously, Isaac Guerrero, with the CMC and Mason news, seems to be the next in line. He was one of their draft picks. He's really fast. He kind of fits that San Francisco mold of fast, big, fast running backs and stuff. So, he has to be the number one waiver wire pick up this week, right? So just if you play Fab system, just spend, almost all of it. If you want to save a little bit for the playoffs, that's fine too. They do have, I believe, no, actually, you might be on the practice squad. There was another player, Patrick Taylor, that's really deep stuff there, but it doesn't show him on their active roster right now. So he was on there for a while and he's no longer there. So they have someone there. They might even bring someone in. So keep an eye on that. What's that?
Juice. They got Juice there.
Yeah. No, he fumbled, so he's getting benched. Yeah, so definitely.
No, well, last time Mason never actually missed a game before this, but the last time he was hurt and missed most of a game, Juice did take a lot more snaps than he did before. So I think he'll work in some, just because I mean he's more familiar with the playbook than anybody.
Yeah, and they're going to sign at least 1, if not 2 guys to come in, because they need special teams help too to take Guerindo's spot on that. So they're going to add some depth somewhere. What do you mean? Debo looked good doing it. Just keep him out there, baby.
Great.
He looks awesome.
Yeah. Patrick Taylor is the one. He was basically on their active roster like the entire year. I think he just got sent down recently to their practice squad. Still there, so he should have a good handle of the playbook for deeper leagues. Tank Bigsby played 50% of the snaps. I mean, that team's a disaster. But Trevor Lawrence is probably gonna. I assume he's out this week and maybe the rest of the year. But he's a guy that's at least getting out there. He's going to get touches in a positive game script or something, which I don't know how many of those they have, but you could do worse. What do we think of Sincere McCormick, the Raiders running back? He's looked good. Now, it seems like Madison was almost close to coming back, and maybe he would have if it wasn't a short week for them. But Sincere McCormick, he was on, I believe, Ravens practice squad. 12 for 64 and 5 for 33, his 2 games where he's gotten some action. So I don't know. This is more for deeper leagues again, but super productive in college. Was like injured his rookie year. Has been in the league a couple years. So kind of an interesting guy. I don't know. You're not going to feel confident starting him if Madison's there, though.
I don't know, because the Raiders are eliminated. I don't see why they would throw out Madison when they could potentially get McCormick for hardly anything. So it could be interesting to see how that works out too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then I noticed Jonathan Brooks was under 50%. So I know people are probably a little bit frustrated with waiting that long, and then he's back and he's not doing anything. He did triple his snap percentage, so from 8% to almost triple, 8% to 21%. He had a couple plays where it's like, oh yeah, like he had a catch I think where he looked pretty good. Again, another situation where I don't think Chuba's going to go away, but especially because they signed Chuba. But you got to see what Brooks has a little bit more, right? So hopefully they get him going. I think he's pretty talented. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a couple week stretch where he's a really good play. So
and like I said, they had a chance to win that game, and the last offensive play of the game that the Panthers had was Chuba Hubbard fumbling the ball back to Tampa.
Yep.
And giving the game away. So if Brooks doesn't get more of a run after that, I don't know what will give him more of a run this season.
Yeah, absolutely right. And then you said the handcuffs. A handcuff of a handcuff that might actually be worth looking at in deeper leagues. Isaiah Davis for the Jets. He was a guy that I was kind of making the argument of because everyone was looking at Braylon Allen as the guy early on, but Isaiah Davis, they drafted him the round after they drafted Braylon Allen this year, and he had a couple catches at a touchdown. It either means there's no true handcuff for Breece Hall, or maybe he's someone. If you want to get ahead of it, the handcuff of the handcuff.
Yeah, well, that's all pretty interesting picks, and definitely when you're starting to look at this point, you want to look at McCormick's a good example. Like teams that are out, they want to see what they kind of have that might be a good option for, especially when it gets into if you play there week 17, week 18, when you're out and people are just out shining and not playing any of their starters and just kind of seeing what the player's ability is. So it could be something interesting to look at for sure. But yeah, I definitely some solid options this week. Steve, did we miss anybody?
No, it's just the handcuffs, like you said. I'll throw out Roshan Johnson again. I still don't understand what happened there. The Bears at one point in the second quarter had 9 offensive plays, and Roshan was somehow in the concussion protocol without being on the field. I don't know what happened there. But he missed basically the rest of that game. He is the Swift handcuff, and he is the goal line back when he's healthy, but don't know what happened, but just a name to keep on the radar.
Yeah, because he isn't the protocol, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
One other one I just saw, it's under 50. Gus Edwards is under 50%. He, was the clear. He played half the snaps. So, he played half the snaps. So they didn't really. I was just looking now, didn't really run the ball that much. Only 6 carries for Gus.
You don't say. Our running back room sucks without J.K. Dobbins. Who would have saw that coming?
It does. But I think I'm just double checking this. Yeah, they only had 46 plays. So they just didn't have many plays, the pick 6 and stuff like that leads to that. But maybe in a game where they get 70, close to 70 or 65, 70, like a normal game, could see a little bit more. Yeah.
Not happening this week. So should be widely available next week. If you want him or Vidal, more than welcome to pick him up next week. But more importantly, Benson, again, kind of wanting to touch on him because of the fact that James Conner just got a contract. So they are definitely going to be using him more, I would say, especially to keep Conner healthy. But that was another big one I just want. And Ray Davis. Speaking of teams that have clinched, Ray Davis is another one that you want to have because more than likely when it comes to that time period that you're week 17, week 18, James Cook, we saw it even last night when they were done. Davis was in there. So,
yeah, he looks good when he's running the ball. So I like that.
Now with Mitch Trubisky, he doesn't, but with Josh Allen, yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
So, all right. Add our running backs into wide receivers because why not? And we left off with Jonathan Brooks. So let's stick on the Panthers train because that offense has found something. I don't know. It's surprisingly good or productive for fantasy. So both Xavier Legette and Adam Thielen, widely available, 38.8% for Legette and 33.6% for Thielen. Both of them, again, think this week is going to be an Adam Thielen week. Last week it was, like I said, I think they focus on Legette. So Thielen had the big boost, and I think that happens again this week because of the matchup. But honestly, I think both of them could be easy flexes if it's any kind of a shootout, which Panthers defense isn't good, so would expect a lot of shootouts for them. They have to put up points. And we just talked about Brooks and Hubbard. That offense seems to be moving. So, and then again, plays tonight. You have the opportunity to grab him now. Devon Vele. I'm really hoping that he gets me my 9+ fantasy points to get this week over with, since for some reason I decided to start Baker Mayfield instead of Jane Daniels. So that one's going to come and bite me. And then Dallas Goedert being injured also kind of ruined my week. So the important thing, but all these are, Devon has been out there playing well. He seems to be the wide receiver 2 in Denver. Wow. But very curious to see how this goes tonight and if it's a boost, because I would expect Winston to throw tonight. A lot of opportunity. And on that same note, if you need somebody for tonight outside of Vele, Elijah Moore, probably widely available. I'm expecting him and Judy to rotate in and out of the slot with Njoku. So it's probably going to be 30-ish% for all of them playing out of the slot, with whoever's outside likely seeing Surtain, which I'd expect Judy to get a lot of Surtain tonight. But they've been rotating him. So it's been about 30% that he's been playing in the slot, and good opportunity. So those are my picks. Mike, who do you got?
Romeo Dobbs, always falling. He's right, always hovers around 50%. And I get why, but he was out. He missed it with the concussion this last week. He's going to have I guess it's not a mini bye because they play on Thursday, but hopefully, he'll have 10-ish days since the concussion. So, especially in these heavy bye weeks, like I'm always fine starting a guy like Romeo Dobbs because he plays a lot. You just look at his snap percentage. It's normally almost always over 80%, 75%. He's on a good offense, so he's going to have games. It's not a guarantee. There's probably a limit on the upside, but he's going to have games here and there. Nick Westbrook-Akine,
Keeps doing it.
It's this point. It's just it's insane. 8 touchdowns on 20 catches is absolutely insane. But we're talking about he's literally scored a touchdown in 7 of 8 games. Like he's only missed one game with a touchdown. He's the wide receiver 12 in PPR somehow since week 8, and that's when he took over. I think that's when Hopkins got traded. And so that's when he started. He's out there all the time. That's like half the battle when finding these guys.
Like 98% of snaps, he's out there.
Yep, because he does all the little things for him. He's a professional receiver. And, this last game he got 8 targets as well. Only caught 3 of them, but got the 2 touchdowns. I'm fine starting him this week if you need to for these bye weeks because the guy's just, he just keeps getting it. He keeps getting the touchdowns. So always scary to start. But another guy along those lines is Trey Tucker for the Raiders, literally out there 90% of the time. He's kind of the stretch the field type of player, so he can catch a bomb. He did catch or have 8 targets and 7 catches in week 12 against the Broncos. That could have been a little bit of, Surtain on Bowers or something, but also caught a 58-yard touchdown pass against the Chiefs. So, if you kind of need a home run type of play, he feels like he's potentially like that, and he's out there a lot. So there's a good chance he does get that. Parker Washington had a big game. Don't know if we're feeling it. I meant to check how much of that was with Mac Jones. I assume a lot of it because Lawrence
it was all with Mac
early.
Jones. Him and BTJ both had really big games with Mac Jones. So not quite sure what that actually means though.
Yeah, I don't know either. Is that just is that the Houston thing? Because I know Houston's not great against receivers. It could be that, but so he's an interesting one with that volume, and there's others out there. Demario Douglas didn't quite get the 10 PPR points this week for 20, I believe, but he's usually pretty good for 10. You got to kind of like these last weeks, you got to see what you need type of thing. Like if you're going up against someone who has a lot of bye weeks and they're starting, a lot of their starters are out, Lamar and or Derrick Henry and all these guys, or Jaden Daniels and McLaurin. And it's like, okay, if all my guys just kind of do what they're going to do, I'm going to win, right? If they do what they're projected for, I'm going to win. If they give me 10 points, whatever. Or if you're on the opposite side, you need, the big home run play, guys like MVS and Westbrook Akine and Trey Tucker may be the way to go. So kind of check your matchup and see how it's looking there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious. Again, I brought up Parker Washington a long time ago. It'll be interesting to see if he turns into something, but I'm not quite betting on it. So, Steve, you have anybody you want to throw in the ring?
Parker Washington was mine, so we're good.
All right. Well, into everybody's favorite topic, tight ends. Shouldn't be surprised, but I am. Johnny Smith, 35.35% rostered still.
How is this possible?
Did that
even go up? Like, how much did that go up from last week?
I think it was like 2%.
What is going on?
4 weeks scoring over 20 fantasy points, and 3 in a row. Has 6 weeks in double digits. Guys, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know why. If he is available in your league, people are not paying attention. So you need to fix that. You need to be the one taking advantage of it, because that really seems to be the offense for the Dolphins right now. It's the only thing that has been consistent the past couple weeks. Anywhere outside of the run game, and even the run game has been hurting. So until he's over 50%, I'm going to stick with Johnny Smith.
Smart.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the guy's been awesome. He's been awesome. So, and we thought it was going to maybe go away with Tua, and he's been better with Tua, so yeah,
mind blowing.
Please grab. Sometimes we need to just I wish there was an option on some of these websites where you can just get rid of the name and just see the stats, because I think we'd buy in more on guys like Westbrook Akine, Johnny Smith, just because the name makes us pause a little bit.
Zach Ertz as another one.
Yep.
People, the name used to be something, but now they're just like, Zach Ertz. Why?
Yep.
No, you just need to look at the numbers. Stop worrying about the name. Look at the numbers.
Yeah, no, really, you really do. Will Dissly gave you a goose egg, I believe, this last game. So that's never fun. But McConkey may be injured. He's kind of been injured all year and been playing through it. But if he's injured, I kind of like Dissly a little bit more. Just because we did see some good usage and stuff. I don't know. It's just one of those games. You're going to get these with these tight ends.
And we're playing the Chiefs, who really suck against the tight end. So also a benefit.
Yep, they are the fourth worst. So against tight ends, or fourth best matchup for tight ends. And then Pat Fryermuth's been doing, getting some volume here the last couple of games. We know Pat Fryermuth is a good, solid tight end. He's not a game breaker or, a difference maker necessarily, but we know he can catch the ball, and we know he can give you, what you're looking for at the tight end position when you're streaming it. 4 or 5 catches and 40, 50, 60 yards. This week it was 6 for 68 and a touchdown. The week before, 4 for 60 and a touchdown, or no touchdown, but 4 for 60. So, we know he's a good, solid player and always has that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm more willing to lean Dissly this week. Fryermuth, it's just iffy because of, again, it's a rotation there, and him and Darnell Washington. It's really hard to decipher which tight end is going to be the one that Wilson decides to throw to in any given week. So, all right, I know this is Steve's favorite position,
obviously,
and Theo Johnson is no longer available.
I know, that's the devastating part. I don't know. The only question that I wanted to pose to you guys here is kind of just going back to what we were talking about last week. Are we buying Noah Gray at all?
It's It's NBA
Gets
Jam rules,
6
right?
targets this week. So, like, is it 5, 4, and 6 in the last 3 games? It feels like he's getting heavily used in the offense.
Well,
Yeah.
again,
Against
I don't
all
know if
odds.
you guys listen to their podcast at all, but Kelsey's been kind of big on him and really pumping him up. So I don't know. I was way in on it early because I saw him as a rookie, and I was like,
Too
man,
early.
this guy's talented.
You were far ahead of your time.
Thanks. I appreciate that. But you just need to see the targets and see the workload, and it seems to be happening because
that's the main thing. Like, again, he had 6 targets this week, which was the most of the last 3 weeks, but it's the least amount of points because it's the only week he didn't end up in the end zone. So it's still a tight end. You still have to fall in the end zone. But if you're getting the opportunities, then I don't know. At least one of those targets was in the end zone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like he had one just above him or through his hands or something. Vaguely recall.
He's pushed out.
Something.
Yeah, I think felt like he was pushed out of the back of the end zone. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something to keep an eye on. If nothing else, if you have a starter, I would grab him just on the off chance that he's a handcuff. Something happens to Kelsey. Like if Kelsey goes down for some reason, Noah Gray's a top 5 tight end, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
probably.
If he's
I
getting,
said that last year
he's
though,
getting
and
this,
it didn't happen.
Yeah, but now he's actually getting involved in the offense, even with Kelsey on the field.
But maybe it's because Kelsey is not on the field.
Yeah.
Like that he's open.
I guess. I don't know. He also didn't get involved at all until like all the wide receivers got hurt. So that also is helping him here too. But
yeah,
who knows?
I mean, and it goes back to what Jason was saying with these teams that are basically locked for the playoffs. Like Chiefs more than any other team are going to be very hesitant on and careful with their guys, especially Kelsey. They're going for 3 in a row. Even if they had to sacrifice the number 1 seed, I don't think they care too much.
Right.
So yeah, like that's another one where Kelsey's out the last 2 weeks of the season or something. So I mean. He's out there a decent amount too, so it's not like a 30% snap share or something. It's 60 to 70.
So I thought that one was interesting. The one I would actually recommend though is your other guy, Jason Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, okay,
who's about 5% rostered right now, and you've got Taysom Hill now done for the season. Even in a game where Taysom Hill played a majority of the game, he had 7 targets, caught 5 for 36, didn't end up in the end zone. But again, you're getting the volume. So it's hard to ignore that at the tight end position. You would think he's going to be even more involved now without Hill there blocking him.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity. I mean, again, you're in the same kind of issue where we don't know which one's going to be successful in any given week between him and Foster Moreau.
Yeah.
So both are very widely available. I would also lean Johnson because I think he's more talented, but that doesn't mean anything because we've also seen Carr hate talent.
I wish I could say you're wrong, but I can't.
MVS scored again. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yep. Sure did.
So, but with that in mind, I'm going to bring up a name, not for this week, but for the future. Austin Hooper. Team sucks, but both of them tight ends are getting work. Both him and Henry are getting work, both seeing decent amount of targets, both on the field quite a bit. So that's going to be how they work. Both could be potential tight ends that you're able to throw in and get that 8 fantasy points. And more than likely, one of them is going to score every week. Just good luck picking out which one. Right. I feel like the past 2 weeks it's been Hooper, which has been infuriating, but what can you do? So,
yeah. I mean, even a guy like Dawson Knox, I forget if Kincaid's going to be back or not, or what his injury was, but we've seen Kincaid basically miss 3 games. I know he played about a quarter of the game 3 weeks ago, and Dawson Knox, has had 40 plus yards in those 3 games. So that's another one if Kincaid's out. I think Buffalo only threw it like 17 times yesterday. So if they have a game where they're throwing it just a bit more, he could be a solid play if Kincaid's out.
Yep. Okay. Done with tight end. Into defenses. Good luck. Hopefully you listened to us earlier and got somebody you could hold on for a bit. Because it's a rough list. So I went back to the Arizona Cardinals. Team's been playing pretty well. Saw the team that they're playing this week, the Seahawks, 2 weeks ago, and put up 11 fantasy points. Seahawks continue to struggle. And 2, the Cardinals defense seems to be stepping up. And DK struggles against this team more often than not. So that's going to be how it works. It seems like another safe play. So only one I felt comfortable doing because I felt dirty with the rest of them.
Yeah. There are some bad defenses here. I mean, Bucks versus Raiders. Bucks, in terms of the Buccaneers, pretty bad defense, just a good matchup there. Raiders give up the third most points to defenses. Chargers versus Houston. I think the Chargers are slightly over 50%. But I think people were potentially avoiding them. Yeah, and dropping them over the last couple of weeks, just because they had like the Bengals and Falcons, which I guess you're not too worried about. But obviously they looked really good. I'm not too worried about the Chiefs in terms of their offense. So I think that could be a pretty close, low-scoring game. Bengals versus the Cowboys, maybe. They're so bad, though. Like, they're so bad. So I'd probably avoid. That'd be very bottom of my list, like desperate. But I am curious if Steve's going to go back to the well with.
I am. I'm a sicko. I don't care that it's Jacksonville. I don't care that they're hot ass. It's anyone against the Titans every single week.
Oh, man. This is like.
Do you think you can play both defenses here?
Probably.
Titans and Jags? Yeah, why not?
This is going to be a red hot 9-6 barn burner. Just all kinds of filthy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if the Jags score any touchdowns this week, it's because Will Levis threw it to him. I'm telling you that much right now.
Yeah. You're probably right. What did the Commanders do? I'm trying to look.
Last week, let's see. I think they had 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's fine if you're streaming.
They had a defense. 7. Right now, they are defense 12 on the week.
Okay.
Anybody against the Titans, baby. Roll on. I'm doing it. Don't even care.
Yeah.
YOLO.
By the way, you get the Jags twice, I believe.
Yeah. They have 2 more shots at Tennessee here.
Yeah, so if you want to hold on to the Jags,
2 bites at that apple. I don't know if I really want to hold the Jags on my bench for 4 weeks.
But I don't think anybody's going to pick them up. You're probably fine dropping them after this week.
They had a 10 against Philly, an 11 against Minnesota, -4 against Detroit because this is Detroit. Then their bye week, they had a 2 this past week against Houston, but then they've got Tennessee this week, the Jets. That's attractive, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Raiders, and then Tennessee. I mean, are we streaming I might be streaming the Jags rest of the way.
Oh, jeez, man. That is so gross.
So dirty.
This is interesting. I might be talking myself into this. This is real interesting right now.
Yeah,
we told you that's why we liked Levis so much. It's dirty, but it's
real interesting. I'm thinking about it. I might just roll Jags these last 4 weeks because I care that little about defense that I think I'd be all right doing it.
Ooh.
Well, I guess if you want
another name, I don't like it, but Saints maybe against the Giants.
Yeah, just matchup based.
Yeah.
Or Giants against the Saints, which, another game. Flip a coin. Good luck.
But see, the problem is like the Saints, they had a 4 against Cleveland, a 3 against Carolina. It's like they've had decent matchups and just haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking the ball away is the big thing.
They're not forcing anything. So
Yeah. They're not really doing anything. They're just there.
no sacks, no turnovers.
They just show up.
So, all right. Well, let's get everybody out of here so they can go enjoy the game.
Yep.
Hopefully we helped. Who knows if we actually did. But in any case, good luck. Hopefully tonight's game doesn't suck. You have a Monday Night Miracle. Good luck. We're getting to that point. So, yeah. Hope everybody has a good week. Be back here Wednesday. Back to our normally scheduled events. Back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then Sunday.
Yes.
Back. No weird schedule with Thanksgiving. We're done till Christmas. Probably.
Yep.
All right. Well, in any case, hope you all have a good week. Remember, as always, to keep up the nonsense.